welcome OG Squarespace mentor, marketing expert, and the founder of Squarespace Themes, Omari Harebin.
Hi, everyone. It's really good to see here. It's really good to be here and see you in person. Today, I'm going to be talking about managing multiple content flywheels. We've just heard 3 speakers talk about email marketing, digital products, and repurposing that content for other purposes. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how do you manage your energy so that you can do this sustainably over time. I've been creating Squarespace-related content for almost a decade now, and today I'm going to share with you how I've been able to essentially sustain that presence and not burn out along the way. So who am I? I'm a digital alchemist, which essentially means that I turn experiences, I turn real-life things into digital products that make sense for everyday people like me and you. These are my 3 primary content flywheels when it comes to Squarespace. I have a Squarespace Themes newsletter, a Squarespace Entrepreneur Facebook group, and a podcast for Squarespace entrepreneurs. So quick show of hands if you've consumed any of that content. Cool, a good number of you. Now, the reason for that is because it's for you. Why is it for you? Is because I'm you as well. And so my core strategy is if I can figure out how to align myself with what I'm interested in, what I'm curious about, and share those discoveries with you, then I can keep going. So we all know that we need content to keep our marketing engines going. But really, inside of that engine is us. What we care about, what we're passionate about, the things that really drive us and power us up. The challenges, or the typical challenge is, okay, what kind of content do I need? Where should I be posting it? But really, what's most important to me is how do I keep creating this content without burning out? How do I, not get bored with what I'm doing? How do I make sure that my needs are being met in the process? Now, here's a couple of deeper emotional needs that can come up and can get in the way of creating content flywheels. So one of those things is, what if I'm being judged or criticized by the people I'm in front of? Well, you are being judged by the people you're in front of, but you're also doing the judging as well. So this is a practice, but if you can silence your own inner judge for a period of time and give yourself time to get something out, then now you have something that you can actually judge. The time gives you a fair period where now, this is what I like to do. I'll give myself a year. I'll put something out, I'll close my eyes, and a year later, I'll have new eyes. I'll have a fresh perspective. And so I'm not judging from a place that's not going to allow me to grow and go. I'm judging from a place of, okay, I know better now, and so I can do better, and that's what I'm going to do. It's not a one and done process. It's a cycle, and that's the flywheel. Another thing that can hold you back is, well, how can I consistently produce content at a certain quality? Try, keep going. I don't have a clear answer for you on this. I'm constantly struggling with, is the quality going to be good enough? Is it going to be this? And I just keep going anyway. I had challenges putting together this presentation, but guess what? I got to get it out. But here's the underlying part is is what I have to say valuable? Value is a word that we all throw out often, but the way I like to think about value is a change in state. So if I can create a change in state, maybe it's from bored to excited, or maybe you start out hungry, but now you're satisfied. What I've given you there is value. So anytime you in your own personal experience go through a change in state, you know that there's value within that change. And so that change could be very simple. It could be, I'm twiddling with a client site and I'm frustrated because I can't get it right, but I find a solution and now things are better. That very simple transition from A state to B state, in between, that's your value. So we're all going through that every single day. You don't wake up without going through some form of change. And so it comes down to being able to capture that change. So my secret to sustainability is to create content that is inherently fulfilling for you, the creator. Because as a creator, you have to be tapped into your creative source. And when you are tapped into that source, you are bound to be fulfilled, not from the reception, but from the inception of what happens within. I didn't mean to go there. Passion-driven content, it keeps you motivated. You know, when it's something that you care about, you're more likely to wake up and show up and do the work that needs to happen. And when you love it, you create it, and there's a vibe, right? When you love what you do, people can feel it and they respond in kind. Now, here's how I keep my flywheel spinning. I pursue my interests. 10 years ago, my interest was very simple. How the heck do I make a living on the internet? Number one, big interest of mine. The second interest was, how do I do this with Squarespace? Second interest. Now, those interests didn't go away. In fact, those interests sparked my curiosity. Okay, so how does this work? How do I create templates? How do I build a sustainable business on a platform serving users of that platform? And following that curiosity, I discover things. I find things that are interesting to me, things that I'm curious about, and I share them. And as often as I do that, that's what keeps my flywheel spinning. Now, the benefits of that is that your enthusiasm shines through. Your audience comes along with you for the journey, and this naturally leads to valuable discoveries for both you first and your audience. Now, is every content that I create or put out, does it get all the engagement? Does it generate sales? No, most of it doesn't. But because of that first principle of it fulfilling me, I have enough energy to create the next piece and the next piece and the next piece. And along the way, I'll leave something so that the person coming behind me can pick it up and pick it up. And that is the energy, that's the cycle that keeps the flywheel spinning. So how does this look like in practice? Well, I have a very simple 3-step framework, and it starts with capturing. And so what that means is, just like Clary talked about, in all of the work that I do, I try to capture something, whether it's a high point or a low point. And I find that it's really important to capture the low points because we're all bound to go through them, but they don't last forever. So if you capture a low point in your journey, in your story, in your client work, a problem, something that feels like you can't get out of it, and then time passes, it resolves, you find a solution, you capture what happened at the end. And so that gives you something that you can now develop. And this is something that you can work with over time. Okay, what was it that worked well? What was it that didn't work well? How could I continue to refine this interest or this passion? And then finally, there comes a time where you have to expose it. Now, that time might be different. There might be different timelines for the different things that you capture. There might be some things that require a much longer timeline where you just can't expose it yet. You might have to wait a year or two. But then there are other things that, oh, I can share this tomorrow. Oh, I could share this afternoon because it's so small, but there's still value embedded in it. So when we get this right, clients seek us out. You're recognized as a thought leader. Your post, your content, it starts to attract exactly what you've put into it, which is your interests, your curiosities, your passions. And you can now develop multiple streams of income as a consequence of this kind of framework. Collaborations and partnerships, they come naturally and organically. And while you're presenting on stage, your content is working for you 24/7. So final thoughts, and this is the first time I'm saying it, but it's probably the most important. Give yourself grace. You're not going to get it perfectly out the gate. I'm still trying to get it perfect. But the only way that I've been able to keep going is to give myself grace and to recognize that even though I am building a machine, I'm a human and I have human needs that have to be met. And if I can take care of those first, think long term and focus on what I love, I'll get to where I'm trying to get to. Thank you. That's the end of my talk.